Varna is not birth-based and Shudra is not a derogatory term, according to a book authored by Swami Vigyananand and launched by Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh Chief Mohan Bhagwat last month. The RSS has been quite vocal on ending caste differences in society. Earlier this year, Bhagwat called upon the Hindu community to strive for social harmony by embracing the principle of one temple, one well and one cremation ground for all. In this video, ThePrint takes a look at the book Hindu Manifesto and what it says on Varna, caste and discrimination in Hindu society. In Hinduism, Varna refers to the four traditional social classes: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. The book, the Hindu Manifesto, argues people's Varna is not birth-based, and it then tries to explain why. As per the book, Varna refers to the classification of individuals or groups based on the different forms of dharma, that is, the duties, responsibilities and roles in life that they either embrace or are inducted into. The book further states that the crucial point is that an individual's acceptance of Varna demonstrates that it is not determined by birth. The term Varna itself implies that it is independent of birth. The author also argues in the book that the word Shudra is not a derogatory or demeaning term, and I quote, even though modern sociologists often associate it with the so-called lower stratum in Bharat, unquote. To make this point, the author cites the example of the Ashwini Kumaras, considered the physicians of the gods and the presiding deities of Ayurvedic medicines, and how they were also referred as Shudras, and I quote, indicating that it is a respected term rather than a negative one. The dignity of a human being is paramount, unquote. There is a chapter in the book which is called Non-discriminatory social system, in which the author further argues that in Hindu dharma and society, neither the scriptures nor ancestors discriminated against people based on Varna, jati, gati, skin color, race, gender, language or region. Vigyananand, who is the author of the book, is also the initiator of the World Hindu Congress, and he gives the example of Lord Rama, Krishna and Kali to highlight the point that traditionally, he says, Hindu deities were crafted from black granite, black hard stone or other materials such as sandstone. The author then goes on to state that the term jati refers to the recognition of common features among different objects. Although each object is distinct, they share a common feature that links them, and this essential common feature is known as jati. In fact, during the book launch, Mohan Bhagwat had also stressed on the fact that the caste system went against the core tenets of Hinduism. Explaining Varna, the book further states that different jatis, specialized professional and occupational groups based on shared attributes, align with larger professional groupings known as Varnas. This, the author states, reflects the organizational structure of the Hindu society, where specialized communities, jati, integrate into broader profession categories or groupings, Varnas. The author further argues that Hindu ancestors envisioned a society without division or discrimination based on, as I also pointed out earlier, Varna, jati, gyati, skin color or race. The book also states that while distinctions and divisions may have existed in the past among human societies based on various factors, Hindu ancestors envisioned a society without division or discrimination. The book also writes that in all the Varnas, there are no special signs or distinct markers. Everyone originates from Bhagwan Brahma, thus everyone is considered a Brahmin. The author in the book then goes on to argue the absence of a special sign or distinct marker for each Varna suggests that Varna is not inherently based on biological birth. Instead, he says it underscores the equality of all individuals in their essential nature, believed to originate from the same source. This highlights the fundamental equality of all people. He further claims that at birth, individuals are not predestined to belong to a particular Varna or professional grouping, refuting the idea Varna is determined solely by birth. Vigyananand states that many scholars argue that Brahmins are merely a jati or Varna rather than a professional or occupational grouping or community. However, he cites an example from the Apadharma Parva within the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata, which deals with the ethical and moral considerations when facing adversity or crisis. And then the author goes on to say that when Brahmins lose their means of livelihood, they adhere to Kshatriya and Vaishya Dharma profession as well. The book further states that professions are interchangeable and also supports the idea that Brahmins can be considered an occupational jati. Several specialized Brahmin occupational jatis come together to form a larger professional community constituting the Brahmin Varna. In the book, Vigyananand says jati refers to shared characteristics including work and experience, and it is not a hereditary concept. He also says that jati refers to a professional and occupational grouping characterized by common essential features, shared attributes, shared qualities, specific occupations, and specialized professions. The author argues that many translate prasav as birth, which he says is incorrect. He then points out that the correct interpretation is provided by Maharishi Vatsyan in his commentary on the sutra, Ya Samna Buddhi Prasute, which refers to the common features that appear in the mind from which they are recognized, and that constitutes their jati. Jati does not refer to biological birth here. Jati exists not only in animate beings but also in inanimate objects, the book points out. Similarly, Jatiya, the book argues, is rooted in a sense of brotherhood in the scriptures. The author states that in Bengali, the terms jati and jatiya have broader meanings, often signifying both brotherhood and national identity. In Bengal, jatiya was used to express a sense of brotherhood, he says, meaning national in this context. The author then goes on to explain the word gyati, which he says indicates lineage or family line, kul or vansh. He says it represents a family line that cannot be changed neither in the past, present, or future. The book states, and I quote, a person's identity is known by their gyati, meaning lineage or family line, which refers to the family of their birth. This gyati signifies that no one can deny their birth identity regardless of whether their lineage is ordinary or prominent. Gyati, indicating lineage or family line, kul or vansh, represents a family line that cannot be changed neither in the past, present, nor future. Jatiya, the book argues, as I have pointed out earlier also, refers to the concept where individuals from various gyati, signifying different families and lineages, come together to form a jati, a specialized professional and occupational grouping or community. The book says that the individuals within this jati develop a sense of brotherhood that unites them as part of that community. This sense of togetherness and shared identity among individuals constitutes jatiya identity. Vigyananand further states that individuals from various gyati or family lineages come together to form or join a jati, which he says represents a community centered on a particular profession, occupation, or grouping. The author then goes on to highlight the problem of intermixing between jati and gyati. He says there is a significant issue arising from the lack of understanding of the difference between gyati and jati. This often leads to the misinterpretation and conflation of gyati as jati. The book claims that over a long period in history, the word jatiya gradually became jati and was often used in its place. He cites the example of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, who in his final message to the nation while addressing Hindu society before his death, used Hindu jati instead of jatiya. The book also gives a number of examples from the Mahabharata and the Ramayana to state that there is no room for any form of untouchability, even based on birth or social status in the Hindu society. The book cites the example of how Lord Rama shared a strong friendship with King Guha, the Nishad Raj. The book states that in current societal norms, individuals who engage in the practice of untouchability and those often discussed in public discourse and academia in the context of untouchability within the Hindu society need to understand that untouchability was never historically accepted in the Hindu society. Vigyananand then says that the friendship between Sri Rama and Guha serves as an example, indicating that there is no room for any form of untouchability, even based on birth or social status in Hindu society. Within the non-discriminatory social system chapter, there is a strap which is quite interesting. It says, in Hindu society, the Shudras are a respected community and they also have their own states. The author then cites an example from the Bhumi Parva within the Bhishma Parva of the Mahabharata and states that in the Mandaga Janpad state of Shudra, where there is no centralized authority such as a king or a ruler, punitive measures enforced by a governing body become unnecessary. This absence, the author states, signifies a profound level of self-governance and mutual respect among individuals. With a lot of debate being centered around caste and with the Modi government also saying that a caste census will take place, how this book will be received will be interesting to note. This is Neelam Pandey for ThePrint.